And it's a summer of fantastic sporting events, the FIFA Women's World Cup, the Netball World Cup, and if you're like me, you're looking forward to track and field World Champs coming up. And of course, cricket. We can talk about cricket, West Indies actually win couple match, volleyball and more, but what's the overall plan to develop sports in Jamaica? How should we move forward? That's our topic tonight on All Angles. I'm Dion Jacksmiller. Thank you so much for being with us. Our guest with us tonight, we have sports governance and management specialist Don Dobson, sports marketer, former head of ICC Cricket World Cup, Chris Dering, and director of high performance sport at Queen's University, Dalton Miles, all joining us on Zoom. In studio, sports marketer Carol Beckford of the Business of Sports with us as well. Just remember, you can WhatsApp your questions and comments to us on 3810072. Give us your first name, your general location, and message us on the app formerly known as Twitter using the hashtag TVJ All Angles. Now, we did ask one member of the public, an educator, what he thought about whether we are maximizing our potential for sports in Jamaica. Take a look.
I don't think we are doing it sufficiently. I think more could be done. You know, I believe private sector can get involved by sponsoring more of the sporting activity. I think the schools can get into more activities. And I think there are many guys and girls on the road that we could bring out and turn them into some real star. You know, would have less crime, you know. Sport can help build our country. And sport can even bring in currency. Sports have a way of helping people to move. And, you know, worse, if they have education along with it, it will do well for them.
Okay, teacher Mr. Hutton talking to us there about the potential for sports in Jamaica. And just a couple quick comments from Twitter. Marlon Hill says, sports development, tourism and ecosystem need more strategic attention of Vision 2030, anchored with more collaboration with private sector, civil society and global diaspora. And keep your comments coming in. So let me go to our guests, and let me ask you all first of all, because I'm trying to figure out what's guiding us, because I'm trying to find the policy document. And let me tell you, I went first to the ministry's website, and I should say to our viewers, we did invite the Ministry of Sports to participate in this program, didn't get a response. I went to the ministry's website. There are absolutely no policy documents there of any kind. So I was searching the internet. I found a 2013 white paper on the national sports policy. I saw an undated discussion paper. And the thing that looked most official was a 2009 sports sector plan as part of Vision 2030. So I don't know. Carol, what's guiding us?
The policy to which you refer is that document which has been adopted, and the Vision 2030 plan. So essentially, and they have some rules that have guided along through the SDF. So I don't think the ministry in itself would actually have it. So anything, it's either on the PIOJ website or, well, PIOJ, because that's where the Vision 2030 plan. So in terms of that, but there is a set of rules because physical education fall on the Ministry of Education. And so from that perspective, the Ministry of Education would guide that part of the process. So essentially, the response to that is we have to go back to basics because the generation has changed. Freddie Green, all of those people have passed on. And so we have to adopt new and modernized way of looking at sport, play, physical education, and of course, elite competitions. And so the Vision 2030 document is all we have, actually.
I mean, it's very detailed. We can talk about some of the things a little bit more. But Chris Daring, let me come to you. Do we have an overarching guiding philosophy that you're aware of?
Well, what's guiding us is every 2 or 4 year cycles, when we perform on international stage, there's a buzz of excitement and questions asked about how can we maximize the return on our fantastic performances overseas. And so we get on television programs like this and talk about it. And for just a brief moment, there's a buzz until the next event. So we really don't have a sports policy that I think is suited for the modern paradigm of sports. If you think about how we went about creating a BPO industry or even the tourism industry, how it was gestated and encouraged and incentives created around it because we felt we had a competitive advantage globally in tourism because of our natural beauty and so on, friendliness of the people, etc. You identify the assets that you have, and then you try and create an industry around it. That's how our tourism industry grew. Similar with the BPO, we recognized the fact that we were the proximity to the United States, our telecommunications infrastructure, our English-speaking population, fairly literate. And we said, we're very competitive in the global BPO landscape to foster that industry. And so we created the various incentives, and you had, virtually every part of government and private sector looked at that as something to exploit. We haven't done that with sports. We still think of it as this wonderful, as a gentleman so rightly said, it's something that makes people feel good. It helps to reduce crime and the social values of it. Commercial industry that we have incredible potential in, we certainly have no policy guiding that.
Wow. And Don Dobson, let me bring you in because as Carol mentioned, and I was speaking about the sports sector plan in Vision 2030. It's actually pretty detailed. I mean, when you see the goals, sport for all, everybody should be participating in sport or should have adequate and effective administrative institutions. Sport should be a goal is that it's an important contributor to economic growth and development, and 3, consistent production of elite athletes. And each of those goals has a lot of breakdown in terms of action items and strategies and all kinds of things. But so where do you think we're falling down though?
Well, implementation. We're good at doing studies. We're very good at assembling working groups and task forces that come with fantastic ideas. And then we produce excellent documents. But the transition to implementation so that intent in the boardroom matches results on the ground, we seem to be lacking. And Chris mentioned about the modern environment and the commercial opportunities that have emerged with the evolution of sport. But it doesn't appear as if we are taking the necessary steps to convert our sport into a business. And I'm now talking about Jamaica. So just for instance, you'll hear people talk about our sports organizations need to be more business-like in their approach. But what does that actually mean, and what support is necessary? How can our sports organizations become more business-like without adequate admin and management staff? And so we would need to see, for instance, steps being taken to help our sports organizations with staffing so that they can implement some of the fancy things that are referred to in these policies and so on. Another area is governance, which speaks to the policies and systems that organizations have in place to ensure their boards are fit for purpose and act in the best interest of the organization and members and so on. But then when you do the research, you realize that governance is an area of weakness, and there's no going forward without governance. If management is about ensuring that, is about how you run a business, then governance is ensuring that the business is run properly. And so if you don't have that foundation in place, where is the confidence going to come from? From the investors, the sponsors, your fans, your volunteers. They need assurance that when they invest their money, when they invest their time and other resources, it's in an organization that has adequate checks and balances that can minimize, if not prevent, corruption, wastage and mismanagement of resources, and so on. So until we take those steps to get our governance systems in place and to staff our organizations properly, then the policies will be, unfortunately, fancy words on paper.
Dalton, so who leads? Because it looks again as if there's so much to do. There's so many areas in which we could be making progress. And I know the ministry points to, for instance, the insurance plan and says, say things, something is happening, but there's so much more. So who is falling down? Is it the associations? Is it the government? Is it private sector that want to come on board in terms of development? Who's falling down?
Yeah. No, first and foremost, thanks for having me. I think it's certainly has to be a starting point is the government in terms of what that framework is and how it will be implemented. When there are certainly a lot of shortfalls and some of the other kind of agencies, organizations, etc. I just want to point out, though, there are quite a number of different groups that need to be a part of this, right? So we're talking about led by government. The Jamaica Olympic Association has a huge role to play in this, certainly because it serves a function as the apex body for Olympic sport in the country and also for Commonwealth Games sports as well, Pan Am, etc. And then obviously you have the member associations and us, right, and also business sectors, etc. I think the challenge has been one. From a government standpoint, people don't always see how everything trickles down to just the average athlete, and I think that has been where the challenge has been for government and for GOA or GFF or J3, etc. Is how do we get the athlete to be the center of everything that we do?
Right, hold that thought for me. Hold that thought. I want to go to break on that point. Lots to pick up on when we come back. You know, I'm ignoring Chris there in shade about, you know, us having these flurries of discussion after major sporting events, but we'll continue with our discussion when we come back. Remember, our WhatsApp line is 3810072. Our hashtag is TVJ. All angles will soon come.